Our channel over at SubStars. So in case you're not looking at the screen, Games Workshop publishes then edits blog posts claiming breathtakingly outdated views on inclusivity are undeniably Warhammer. And if you're an SJW, please just unsub and block the channel. I don't care about the ad revenue. Reading your passive-aggressive comments is giving me cancer. Reading them on Twitter is bad enough. So inclusivity is gay, and I mean that literally, so don't strike me, YouTube. It means everything, that's what the word is supposed to mean, which is obviously not how they use it. It would mean literally that something would be open to all. And well, inclusivity means, yes, everyone is welcome to buy the whatever video game, story, comic, and take part in it. But if you're trying to please all people with whatever story you're selling, which is what the core of all these things is a story, it's really stupid because it means there's just too many cooks trying to spoil the soup. You end up with crap that pleases nobody because they were afraid that they didn't want to offend everybody. And we got to make everybody feel welcome. More people need to just kind of raise their hand and go, no, that doesn't work. That you just end up with bullshit, cancerous propaganda. And you got to kind of say these things so it registers with them that you know what's going on with it, or at least that's how you view what they're doing. And that's not how they use the word inclusive, of course. They mean it to mean that it includes the blue-haired, kitty-diddling, addicted to meth SJWs, which is another thing about SJWs that doesn't really get covered that much, is how many of them are literally just junkies with nothing better to do. So whenever somebody says they want to go march around for something, they're always kind of up for it. But what inclusion doesn't mean is normal, straight people, the people of the light like you and I, i.e. the people who really matter, the people who basically make everything cool, who create the thing, and then somebody says, you need to include all this, and then they come in and then they get positions of power and they exercise influence and they end up subverting and corrupting the things that someone else created until they chase away the target audience, the original audience, in favor of some new, diverse, inclusive audience, and then the thing just ends up failing. And here's the thing. Men in general are the driving force. They're the ones who are buying these types of games, comics, and books, and all the toy dolls that go along with the game. I wonder, is there a bunch of men that go around to some kind of woman's thing and say, you know what, this needs to be more inclusive? I guess there are men that go around and say that kind of stuff. They're in the BLT community. Anyway, feminism has gone full circle. The snake is Ouroboros. In the age of piracy and 3D printing, you should be making as many 223s as possible. Just don't assemble the pieces. I mean toy dolls, the Warhammer dolls. If you really want to be a dedicated consumer, I can admit that the story universe of many of these things are pretty cool, but you have to draw a line at buying stupid plastic toys made in China. That's just consumer behavior. But to be fair, if you print them yourself after printing your Glock clones, of course, the plan's available online. You can make the toys and sell them via social media and Telegram and Twitter, assuming it's, check local laws in your area or whatever. My point was, you have to have a reason to be loyal to these globalist parasitical companies, and there just is no reason. They're demonic entities from the Cthulhu dimension. Normal straight men make all these things happen, but the companies hire obese blue-haired SJWs to run things. That was the what's the Black Samurai thing? They showed the chick who was behind that, pulling the strings in that video game, Assassin's Creed or something, and she's a 300-pound blue-haired feminist chick. And they end up screwing it up. Heather Antos, she always loved comics. You might have read your brother's comics, and that's as far as it goes. The thing is, you control the purse strings. They're making things for freaks that don't support them because they want a virtue signal. You can let all this kind of stuff die. There's other ways to spend time and money. There's like, at least with Hollywood, I'm more familiar with that universe. They're not going to turn it around. I was thinking all these big channels like the Ryan Canal, the Geeks and Gamers, the Quartering. I promise you that they're tired of all this stuff, but they're just trapped in a golden cage. They're making so much money from all this that they have to cover it. They're not enthusiastic. All that enthusiasm is fake, and I don't mean that in a negative way, because it's just a job. They're presenting information to people who still, I guess, have some kind of hope. But if you talk to all those people off camera, they would know that all this stuff is over. They don't give a shit about anything coming out of Hollywood. There's no way, because it's the intermittent chicken experiment. You just can't care about something that's not going to turn itself around. And the thing is, once you really kind of go down the rabbit hole for Hollywood, I don't care even if they did turn it around, because I would know that it would be the same evil people who are pulling the strings, and there was always going to be subversion and corruption in these movies. But I think even the kind of the more normie people, like the Quartering types of people, I can't imagine that he has any interest in Hollywood whatsoever. Like, even he would say, yeah, it seems like they're closing the door on Hollywood, and people who were really into it are probably now just kicking back, smoking a J, drinking a beer, and watching something from pre-2000, pretty much. So the thing with diversity and inclusion and all that nonsense is, and it is nonsense, it doesn't make sense when applying it to the things that they're trying to apply it to, because games and stories are for a select audience. They always have been. Humans are not fungible cogs in the globalist death machines. That's how they view the cattle debt slaves. You can't make games for everybody, because individuals and tribes are different. But we're dealing with people who think men can be women and can get pregnant, or they can't define what a woman is. You're dealing with people who are denying reality, or at least pretending to. So part of their foundation of globalism is that people are fungible, so they can make stories for everyone, even though the facts are not in evidence on that working out, because men are not women, and you end up making the latest Terminator, which I guarantee, if you're listening to this, you didn't see the latest Terminator with Linda Hamilton or something. They killed off the two dudes, so it was just a bunch of women running around. And there's the same dozen examples I named where it's feminist girl power type of movies. The thing is, nobody saw those movies because men are not women. There's like momentum with movies, with the Marvel universe, with Shang-Chi, or just superheroes in general. What was the Rock movie? Black Adams, Black Widow with Scarlett Johansson. There's momentum with a lot of these kind of movies, but that momentum is grinding to a halt. And whatever they have on the horizon now, if it's coming from Disney, it's more likely that it's going to bomb than not. Maybe Sony is a little bit in a different camp. I think they have Venom and Spider-Man. Men and women like different things. Gays like different things from almost, I'll say, straight people. SJWs like their own soy bleeding vagina stories, or at least they pretend to. But when it comes time to pony up the money, I'm looking at the image on screen. Yeah, this is not for everyone. This is for a 99% male audience. Inclusivity, diversity, and feminism is cancer if you value the individual. Plain beans and rice are inclusive to everyone, but once you start adding the ingredients that make the base of that meal, cheese and hot sauces and corn tortillas, you start finding that people have preferences. Too many people just accept the framing of these bleeding vagina SJWs. It's important to crap all over these people, to express that diversity, feminism, inclusion are Frankfurt School subversion and corruption that destroys free will and your ability to be around those people that you choose to control, I don't know, your own environment of what you want to surround yourself with. You can't have things that are open to everyone, because now with this Frankfurt School oppression hierarchy, anyone who's above you on the privilege ladder, you know how that works. If you're trans, non-Euro, whatever, you're going to have the power to control things and manipulate things. And so, for lack of a more politically correct way of saying this, you just have to keep people who are above you on the Alinsky scale out of your spaces for your own safety. And that includes like not hiring those kind of people, because they can create trouble for you where people who are at your level or below simply can't. So it's just kind of, it's like, why do employers are not meeting or not mentoring or meeting alone with women, because it's just too dangerous for them. So it's, it's, oh no, the consequences of the things I set in motion. So if you're a straight person of the light, and if you're listening to this, you most likely are, and a based Chad, you're going to want to experience things that reflect your vibe. And the SJWs want their coping, seething, dilating stuff. We're not freaks and degenerates. We don't want to see the things that they're into. We want exclusive stories. A story that reflects the values of a based Chad German man are not going to be the stories that a gay trans Guatemalan wants. It's time to start being way more blunt with these degenerates and tell them inclusion, things like that, those are not your values. And this is where they'll ad hominem and strawman all they want. That's all Larry Fink subversion 101 New World Order type of stuff. It's pushing toxic far left yeast infection values. Don't just passively not buy this stuff, but get online and be brutally honest that you hate diversity, inclusion, and feminism. You feel that those are all communist tools, which they are, and they've been used very successfully to destroy the West. And you control all these things with your money. Simply 3D print the parts you can and buy unregistered the parts that you can't make. Then you can have your toys and completely go around the government. I mean, Warhammer. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe. Join us over at SubScribe Star, and I will see you guys all next episode.